Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the stream. As you see on your screens there, tonight we're going to be reading a few things here. So, this is mostly for if you just need something to kind of quiet down for the night. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just going to be kind of reading through some of these amazing poems by Young Pueblo. And hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. It's midweek. So we hope that you're doing okay. If it's been a tough week for you guys, I hope that maybe this might help. This might help you guys. Surprise, I'm covered in the universe. So, this is kind of fun. But anyway, I hope you guys are doing okay. And I'm wearing this just as a point. So the point I want to make tonight is wherever you might be, where you might be catching this, wherever your emotional state is, just know that within you lies the very essence of the universe. And you guys are all wonderful human beings. And I'm not here to get preachy or anything else like that. I hold no stock in religion. Of course, I have my own faiths and things that I believe in. But I'm here to elevate whatever it is that you believe in, so long as you believe in the good, that you are well within, creation itself. And you are creation itself. So with that being said, we're going to get into it tonight. This book, sorry for the glare. This book is called Inward by Young Pueblo. This book was given to me by another musician friend who has gone through such through complete affirmations and things, and this person is both a musician, an artist. She paints and she does a lot. Her name is and she also does eyebrows. So she's one of the first people I met when I was doing music in Los Angeles. I had the pleasure of playing with her on the stage, being a backup guitarist and all of that. And this was years ago. Her name is Esme Music. So if you ever find yourself wanting to listen to some very powerful female vocals, she's definitely somebody that and of course in here I was reading this, and I put in my own notes, which I will not share those. I'm not going to share those at all. But I did put in my own notes and my own thoughts on these poems as I was just kind of reading through. Things. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves nice and cozy. So if you are sitting or lying in bed, and I'm just getting my water ready. If you are lying in bed or just just wanting to listen to something, you don't have to watch. You can just kind of keep just kind of keep a tab open or something and go about your day. But this is just something that I felt. And on the back of the book it says, true power is living. the realization that you are your own healer, hero, and leader. So with that in mind, we'll go ahead and we'll just kind of jump through some of the poems in here. So again, this is just for those, if you enjoy the channel, if you enjoy the stream, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, and for just being here, and for being you guys. Yeah, that's right, it's a special effects sweater. That's right, also want to give a shout out to Adrian Selena, who kind of hooked it up with this sweater from the Back Abbey. Again, also repping the Back Abbey as well. So thank you so much. So again, this is to destroy my sweater. Yeah, thank you so much. So this is only, so again, this is, but we can't destroy the universe. No. This is basically to remind you guys that, so the reason I'm wearing this sweater, you can see it, is that to remind you guys that you are a part of the universe, that you are made from stardust. You are wonderfully and beautifully made, no matter what people will say or tell or even speak bad about. Unfortunately, we live in the world where there's a bunch of bullying all the time. We're never really far from censure, or far from somebody, just being a total, idiot and not knowing. But let's just be fair. Sometimes people go through a lot of things and they're not healing, and they're not healed. And best as we can, we try. We really try to put our best foot forward. And but this is just to remind you guys that you guys are loved, that you guys are the universe at large, and that you guys are wonderful, and you guys are beautiful. So this book is called Inward, by Young Pueblo. One of the, I believe this book was released, if I remember correctly, quite recently. Young Pueblo has been, has kind of been, kind of coming up, and this book was given to me by a friend who knew I was to start another step in another journey, and sent this to me right away. Just said, I have a present for you, I'm gonna send it. So, and I think we'll start with this. Healing begins with acceptance and culminates in letting go. When a great misery occurs, it remains with us for as long as we hold on to it. Attachments form because of the energy we use to keep what happened, or the image of what we want to happen, locked away within our mind and our bodies. This is the cause of tension in our being. When we hold on to these attachments, they travel with us as a burden from our past to our present and into our future. They can even be passed on to our descendants long after we are gone. The miracle of healing ourselves is so powerful because in the moment of accepting and letting go, we relinquish the energy of burden, not only in our present, but in our past and future as well. Imagine the timeline of your life. Now imagine the burdens that you carry as an extra line layered on top. As we let go of our miseries, this extra layer becomes thinner and thinner. It will not change what happened, but the extra energy we carried because of these occurrences will no longer weigh us down. The timeline of our life. What happened, happened. But now these moments are no longer attachments of pain and sorrow. Now, they are experiences we learn from, lessons that bring us into a present greater freedom, happiness, and wisdom. So that's one of the great poems that is on there. There's not a single moment when change is not present. The constant of the universe. The motion of impermanence. It is observably evident in the world around us and the world within us. If we examine our nature, it is clear that everything is in a constant state of dynamic change. And we drop the beat. So if we examine nature, it's clear that everything is in a constant state of dynamic change. Trees are a great example of this. In cycles, they alternate from experiences of growth to experiences of releasing, all the while alive, all the while growing. If we are refusing to grow, then we are moving against the flow of nature, the flow of change, so powerful that resisting it can only cause difficulty. Sometimes growth hurts, but it's this type of pain that is easier to endure because it is helping us come forward as a better version of ourselves. If we are not growing, then we're probably hurting. What is happening within us will reveal itself in the energy of our actions and our words. So let's make space for deep healing in our world. A real sign of progress is when we no longer punish ourselves for our own imperfections. You have walked through fire, survived the floods, and triumphed over demons. Remember this: the next time you doubt your own power. So once again, we are reading from Inward by Young Pueblo. And if you are watching, and this is just simply to wind down the night, and I'm wearing this sweater with the universe inside of it to remind you all that you guys are all stardust and wonderfully and beautifully made, and that no matter what it is that you're going through at this stage in life, You guys are working towards your ultimate higher selves. And I want you to know that wherever you're at, in whatever stage of progress, I want you guys to know that you are loved, you are cared for, and you surely are meant to be here at this time, at this place. And just know that you are loved. A body is a field of moving energy and a system of information. As life continues its fluctuations, we tend to gather attachments, burdens, and sorrows. We hold them so tightly that they become embedded in the body, causing blockages and disruptions in the flow of our system, which can limit the access to the best possible versions of ourselves. This sometimes manifests as ailments or disease, as well as a lack of belief in our own power and a lack of understanding of the universe. When we use purifying healing techniques, the body begins releasing these knots of attachment, allowing our field of energy to return to the balance and move more freely and powerfully. This causes changes in our body, not just the physical ones, such as healing of disease or ailments, but immaterial and internal changes as well, as believing in oneself more, the growth of love, and the aspiration to grow into wisdom. Really, there is no separation between the mind and the body. They move together as one under the leadership of our mental contents. And remember, guys, reminder, if you spend too long not letting yourself be creative, you can literally start feeling sick. You were born to create. Let it flow and do not overthink it. Progress is being aware when there is a storm happening inside you and remaining calm as it passes by. Now, again, we are reading from Young Pablo. This is a book of collection of thoughts and poems about looking inward. And again, we are just simply meditating on thought and in mind about what it means to look inward and to just give yourselves reminders as well. And I'm also here to remind you that you are loved, you are cared for. And that you are deeply and beautifully, wonderfully made. And I know we have the cars going on in the background. But don't worry. We'll soon fix that in a second. So remember these two things. Two things are true. People who truly know and love themselves cannot be hateful towards other people. The same way we are anchored and grounded by the earth, the earth is healed and nurtured by our own unconditional love. And anyone who is willing to know themselves, to face themselves with honesty, and work toward loving themselves and all beings without condition, is a hero who is adding to the collective peace of humanity. Now we talk about living in love and being unconditionally in love. But what does that mean exactly? So what does it mean to live in love? It means to rise above judgment so that we may see the world and ourselves with the eyes of compassion. It means allowing the wisdom of love to orchestrate our actions, to always seek to produce thoughtful movements that support the good of all beings, and to emit peace into the ocean of humanity with our every step. Living in love is allowing ourselves to move through life with an open heart so that all may share in the gift of our goodwill and kindness. It is to ask ourselves, how would love heal this situation before we would make our own moves? I want to live in a world where harm is not systemic, where love organizes society, where the earth is respected, and where life is valued above all else. Allow yourself to transform as many times as you need to be fully happy and free. The inward movement can be summarized as follows. We observe ourselves, we accept that we find without judgment, we let it go, and the actual release causes our transformation. We are already always changing, but when we focus on healing, we can change in the direction of our choosing. These are moments when we intentionally reclaim our power. Every moment we take to know ourselves, we return as someone new. Whatever calms and concentrates the mind causes the purifying release of old burdens that weigh us down. One can be successful with simple inward observation, but when we observe ourselves through proven healing, including different forms of meditation, among many other things, we accelerate the process of change. Different techniques reach different levels of the mind. Ultimately, any practice that you feel is challenging but not overwhelming is giving you real results. It's the right one for you at the moment. As we progress, we may take on sharper tools for deeper healing. Anything that can heal the subconscious of our mind and create space for love is powerful enough to completely change. When things get tough, remember that we are not building something small. We are building a palace of peace within our own hearts. It takes determination and effort to complete something of such beauty and of magnitude. So if you're just joining us, welcome. This particular late night read is from a collection of poems by Young Pueblo called Inward. This book was given to me by a good friend who sensed that I was about to change and evolve into something else. And I, within this book, have written my own notes and my own thoughts, which I will not share because that was for me, but I did want to share some of the words and the poetry in here. And for some of you guys might be wondering, wow, trip out with the sweater. The picture on the sweater is actually a picture of the universe, of the known galaxy in spiral formation, going towards the center. And it's a reminder, not just to myself, but to all of you, that we are all created from the stars, from the stardust, and that we ourselves are members of this universe. And we all come from the same space. And that like each of the stars, and these are my own words, something that I feel that I don't think is said enough about people is that I look at people, especially people that I've come to love, come to know. And something that I only recently have really expanded upon is that people are just as individual as the stars in the sky. You'll never meet the same person twice. Each person is so unique, so different. And even in the way in which they think, even the ways in which they love, they all require the same thing. We all require love from each other, compassion, forbearance, kindness. It's difficult to do these things, especially now in the world with everything that's going on. But I feel and I believe that if we each can do it at least one person at a time, that spreads. I know I've met some amazing people in my life. Some of you who are watching right now who have taught a lot of these lessons to me. And I want to say thank you. Thank you to your light, to your universe within you, inside you, the spirit which resides in you. Thank you for your patience, your kindness, your forbearance, your love. And I just hope that in some way I can tell you that you are loved, you are most welcome, and that you are worth. You have such great worth. And everything who you are and everything that you do. And so I wanted you to know that. In this month of mental health for men, to the gentlemen who are watching, understandably so that it is very difficult. it is very difficult for all of us to be human beings. And as men in the society, oftentimes, there's a lot of men who don't open up because society tells us not to. Society tells us not to cry, not to ask for help, because it is seen as a form of weakness. But I tend to disagree. When you cry, you release the stress hormone. Stress hormones are released through your tears. When you ask for help, you get the information that you need. You get the benefit of having someone to talk to. And as community, as people, no man or woman is an island. We cannot do it on our own. It's impossible. And I want you to know that whatever it is that you're going through, if you're watching tonight, again, I'm not preaching any message of religion or any thought, any specific ideology. But this is just as a reminder to you all. And this book, this collection of poems, just simple reminders of who you are and how much you're needed and how much you're loved. So here's a bit of a story in this book. There's no title. It just happens to be in the middle of the book. And he writes this little story. So again, we are reading Inward by Young Pueblo. And so if you're just going off to sleep, feel free to put this phone off to the side and listen. You don't have to watch. Just relax, chill out. There was a woman who lived in a small town near a tall mountain. She had lived in her beloved town all her life. Everyone in the community thought highly of her and appreciated her kindness and calm manner. She lived a quiet life and worked as any other normal person. Those close to her knew that she was a dedicated meditator and that she sat silently for a few hours a day in deep self-observation. When they would ask her why she took meditation so seriously, she would simply respond by saying, "I'd like to learn, and peace is important to me." As time went by, her calmness continued to grow, and a saintly radiance became apparent in her eyes. But only few were aware that a great change had happened within her. A day came when she told those closest to her that she would soon be leaving the town to live by herself near the top of the mountain. When asked why she was leaving, she merely stated, "It's time for me to fully unlock my freedom." Some tried to dissuade her, but most trusted her and felt comfort knowing that the mountain was close by. A decade quickly and quietly passed. The people began thinking of her as their guardian angel, because ever since she moved up the mountain, the town had become calmer, more prosperous. They imagined it might be from the good energy that she regularly emitted. There was a group of young women in the town who had vague memories of this woman, who was slowly becoming a living legend. They were curious and hungry for wisdom from someone who had become a complete being of freedom. It had somehow become common knowledge that she had accomplished this goal. None of them had seen her since they were children, but they heard stories from people who would occasionally venture up the mountain to visit her. Those who saw her would return to the town inspired and rejuvenated. One day, the young people gathered their courage and decided it was time to pay her a visit. They organized their questions, packed light bags for a short trip, and made their way to the woman's home in the mountains, in the hopes of sharing in the woman's clarity. The following are a few of the questions and answers between the young people and the one who was free. They asked her, "How did you free yourself?" She answered, "By embracing my own power." They asked her, "What does it mean to love yourself?" She answered, "It means to uncover and release whatever keeps you from true happiness, to love, honor, and accept every single part of you, especially those that are kept in the dark. It means to observe yourself continually with the utmost honesty and without judgment. Loving yourself means striving to each new heights of self-understanding as to cultivate the wisdom that inner peace requires." They asked her, "What is the key to saving the world?" She answered, You are the key. Heal yourself. Know yourself. Make yourself whole and free. Release all limits so that you can love, and your love can flow unconditionally for yourself and for the world. This will open the heaven of your heart, and it will guide you without fail. And they asked her, "Why are we here at such a time when there's so much misery and despair?" And she responded, "Because you answered the call. The earth signaled for heroes, and the heavens sent forth the ones who were most ready to grow and unleash their unconditional love. You are here to shine the light of your own healing, to offer the world the gift of your balance and peace." They asked her, "Are you wealthy?" She responded, "Yes, it took me years to build, but now there is a palace in my heart that I have constructed out of awareness, calmness, and wisdom." Then they asked her, "What is true power?" And she answered, "True power is living the realization that you are your own healer, hero, and leader. It is when you share your truth and compassion and peace. Your power grows when you make progress in your own freedom and wisdom. Those who are truly powerful do not harm themselves or others. Instead, they use their energy to enrich all they know with love." And that's the end. So thank you guys so much. Alyssa, thank you so much for coming in. Adrian, thank you so much for commenting on the sweater. So once again, special effects sweater. But this sweater is actually a symbolic message of saying that we, as people, as human beings, are all one with the universe, and we are all one with each other. We are very much like the stars, each individual, each shining our own light, each glowing ourselves, and we're existing in this space. And as always, as I mentioned before a few minutes back, if you're just joining us, I want you to know that you are loved and that you are as wonderfully and beautifully made just as the universe is. And to every person that I've met, I want to say thank you for meeting me where I am and teaching me a lesson or two. And it's been lovely to get to know you. And we are reading from Inward by Young Pueblo. Young Pueblo is a poet, what's funny is at the beginning of the book, something that I forgot to mention. At the beginning of the book, it says, 2 of the great lessons humanity will learn in the 21st century will be: to harm another is to harm oneself. When you heal yourself, you heal the world. And I believe that's very true. So here he goes. So this is another piece by him. It goes like this. Whenever we are asked to limit our love, to be selective with our love, to reserve our love for some parts of ourselves and not to others, or to reserve our love for some people and not others, we do a disservice to ourselves by following along, because any love withheld becomes tension in our being. The normality of perpetual war, the rising tide of poverty, the varying forms of violence our economy requires to stay afloat, and the indifference that we are expected to feel toward it all are stifling and ever present. When we think of happiness, it is important to remember that, generally speaking, we fall together and we rise together. Those of us alive today have never lived in a world where a large portion of humanity was not struggling to meet its material needs or fighting the right to be treated as human beings. We humans have the uncanny ability, whether we are aware of it or not, to feel and be affected by the plight and struggle of others. Energy sees no barriers. Whenever we are asked to keep our eyes and hearts closed, and we do just that, because it is easier than accepting the responsibility of a world and humanity that needs healing, because it is easier than understanding that to heal the world will require a heroic effort on our part to heal our own inner world. We are dimming the light of our own future. It is in the challenge of allowing our love to flow actively and limitlessly that we come to find greater degrees of our own personal liberation and global liberation for all beings. The Dalai Lama once stated, "Compassion is the radicalism of our time." This is true. Today we rebel by loving more. When we can see and treat each other as family, we will know a global peace. Do not forget to send your love into the earth, into the water, and into the sky. The beauty of self-love is that it can grow into the unconditional love that can end all harm. Self-love begins with the acceptance of where we are now and the history we carry, but it does not stop there. Self-love is an energy we can use for our own personal evolution. It is a meeting and balance of two critically important ideas: loving who we currently are and simultaneously transforming into the ideal version of ourselves. Though these ideas seem quite contradictory, they are both required for our ultimate success. Without acceptance, our transformation into a happier and freer self would be highly difficult. Why? Because it is much harder to change and let go of what we hate. Self-love helps us delve deeply into ourselves and release the patterns in our subconscious and impact our behavior and emotions. True love, true self-love, is when one understands that the inward journey is the path to freedom, that observing and releasing our inner burdens is what makes us feel lighter and more aware. Self-love does not grow the ego, it does the opposite. It's our ego that carries the craving and causes our suffering. The incessant craving that rests at the center of the ego is the ultimate block that stops us from achieving our freedom. When chaos is all around you, the wisest choice is to create peace within you. Your peace shines outward and supports the creation of a new harmony. When you want to change yourself, do not change everything at once. Pick up a few things to focus on first. Setting yourself up for success is key. Trying to change too many things at once is sometimes overwhelming. Being consistent with a few changes, applying them in your life, until they become integrated as new positive habits, helps you build a strong foundation for future transformations. Setting yourself up for victory helps you build momentum. It takes the consistency required to achieve greater goals in the future, much more attainable. A human is as deep as an ocean, yet most of us spend our lives only knowing the surface. When we decide to dive deep within ourselves, we set in motion the miracle of personal evolution. They were wrong. This pain, this headache, this heartache, these harmful habits, they don't last forever. Why? Because the heart is made of water and the mind is made of fire. The essence of both is change. The will to heal can remove the deepest stains on our spirit. Many forms of modern-day love contain conditions, meaning that we have an idea that we want those we feel deeply for to fulfill. Sometimes we don't see our hopes and expectations for the ones closest to us as conditional forms of love, because we perceive what we want for them as good. Unknowingly, in our wanting of what is best for them, we limit our ability to give them the finest and most powerful form of love, a selfless love that empowers them to decide for themselves what is best for their lives. So much of what we think is love is actually attachment and expectation. Focusing on giving in our relationships isn't easy. It's a habit that requires strengthening, repetition, healing our minds, and allowing our selfless nature to come forward for it to become our new normal. There's a special harmony that arises when two people focus on giving more to each other, a subtle communication and growing awareness between them allows for better support of each other's happiness. We may worry, how will I ensure that I get what I desire is met? A better question may be, has solely focusing on meeting my desires truly brought me happiness? The happiest people, the ones who have successfully purified their minds of all conditioning and craving, tend to have such a strong compassion and understanding of love that their lives naturally focus on giving to others. In this giving and clarity of mind, they find happiness. Though most of us are far from having fully liberated our minds, it is always worth understanding that giving is one of the most powerful forces we can set in motion. That through giving, we not only support those around us, but also wisely follow the law of nature. Everything we do will ultimately come back to us in some form or another. If everyone focuses on giving, we will each receive more. Thank you guys so much for you guys who are popping in and out of the stream. Tonight we are reading Inward by Young Pueblo. I decided to take my time and do more consistent streaming later on in the evening. As some of you guys who have maybe been watching or not, or who have watched the streams after they've been posted. I recently have discovered that I have issues with going to sleep. And I found that when I read, it does kind of relax my mind and it keeps my mind from overthinking. And so I thought, well, I know there's a bunch of people out there in the world who are usually up late at night and probably are looking for something to be quiet and meditate. Now, I will still do live music as I always do, and I will always, put something on. Hello, George. Good to see you. Long time, George. Hope you are well. What's up, man? It's good to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining tonight. As you can see, I am wearing the universe on my on my sweater. And tonight we are reading. I would normally be doing music. Yeah, it has been a minute. Normally, as you know, I do music, but I've decided to do part of my live streamings as reading for folks who are late owls or can't go to sleep. And tonight we are reading a book called Inward by Young Pueblo. And this is a collection of poems and stories. I'm reading them in no particular order, but just so that just putting out there the acknowledgement of looking inward, and also being that June is it talks about men's mental health. I also wanted to put something out there just to remind everyone. The reason why I'm wearing this Universal Special Effects, jacket, is to remind everyone that you are as individual as the stars in the sky, and just like them, you have a great purpose, and you are loved, and that you are welcome and wanted, and you are putting in your best effort every day. And I just wanted folks to have that acknowledgement that no matter where you are, no matter what's going on in your life right now, good, bad, or indifferent, if it's bad, I'm sorry. If it's indifferent, I'm glad you're still here. If it's good, I hope you have more good days. But if it's been a little hard lately, I just want folks to know that you are loved, everything that you do is important, and that it is absolutely does not go unnoticed, and that you are here for a very specific purpose and a time. And thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. So George, if I remember correctly, George, I believe we did music together. I believe, if I remember. Let's see. If I remember. Yep, that's you. Yeah, I haven't seen you do music in a while. I hope you're still doing that. I hope you're still doing that. I hope hope you're still doing on what you're doing on. Yeah, it's been a minute. I really miss seeing you guys, you, Gabe, and the Sonics Puck stuff. Yeah, it's been a minute. It's been a long while. Yeah, still full time. It's a ride. Yeah, I myself am doing music full time. I'm also doing books on tape now and doing a lot more of that stuff. I've had a falling out with Game. Oh, I see. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. Sick. I'm so sorry. But it's been a full time ride for me, and I'm teaching as well now, and so doing a lot, and just kind of finding that I like reading, I like narration, and I like doing music as well. So um, so yeah, thank you so much for coming in and hang out for a while. Just gonna be reading some things. Again, the book is called Inward by Young Pueblo. I'm really sorry about the glare. I wish I could hide it, but it's the lights, and in order for all this to work, kind of need the lights. And you remember the Sonic Box day, where all the lights needing to work, and it's like super bright in the room and the whole thing. But you remember how that all works. I would normally be doing music, but it is rather late in the evening, and I can't, where I'm at, I can't really be playing. But if you want to get the book, I would definitely go out and check it out. It's a really good book. And of course, I put my own notes and meditations to it. And of course, I'm not going to, but I'll share one. Maybe I might. But this is called Inward. And so here's something to start with. So it goes like this. So many of us walk the earth as strangers, even to ourselves, not knowing what is true, why we feel what we feel, actively working to repress experiences or ideas that are too jarring for us to observe and to release. It is a paradox occurring in the human mind. We run away from what we do not want to face, from what brings feelings of pain, and from problems we don't have answers to. But in our running away from ourselves, we are also running away from our own freedom. It is through the observation of all that we are and accepting what we observe with honesty and without judgment that we can release the tension that creates delusions in the mind and the walls around the heart. This is why the keys to our freedom lie in our darkness. Because when we observe our darkness by bringing our light of awareness inward, the ego begins to dissipate into nothingness, and the subconscious slowly becomes understood. The mind is full of shadows, but shadows cannot withstand the patience and perseverance of light. Our minds can become like stars, powerful, united fields of pure light. But unlike a star, the healed mind will dwell in awareness and wisdom. When we disconnect from our pain, we stop growing. When we are dominated by our pain, we stop growing. Freedom is observing our pain, letting it go, and moving forward. It is not love if all they want from you is to fill expectations. One of my greatest mistakes was believing that another person could hold together all the pieces of me. Make sure the walls you build to protect yourself do not become a prison. So I wrote a note. I received this book um, possibly, I think, just around when COVID happened. And so I wrote here in this part of the book. I wrote here. Um, I wrote this book when I wrote inside this book when just about when either COVID happened or just the year after. But this is what what was in the book, and then I wrote something after that. It says, "Changes in the external world can cause great misery when we do not know how to engage and heal ourselves. Moments of pain and discomfort, or encounters with ideas that may break the mental images we have created of the world, are normally things we not only run away from, but also the things we build walls to defend ourselves from. These walls we build in our minds, and our heart makes sense when we don't know any better. We all have the right to protect ourselves from pain, but be aware that the walls can turn from protection into prison. The more walls we build around ourselves, the less space we have to grow and be free. We have a harder time releasing the habits that cause misery when we are surrounded by the psychological walls we have constructed, causing us to stagnate and fall into a rhythm where we are always running within a space that is slowly growing smaller. The opposite of this mode of being is to have practice that helps us go deep within ourselves, to dissolve the walls, to heal the patterns that cause us pain, to release the burdens and traumas, and to discover the universe that dwells inside each of us. When we journey inward and release the blocks that we first built as walls, we naturally begin to create a new and wider space of awareness. Now, when things happen in the external world, we have more space and time to examine how we would like to respond, as opposed to reacting blindly and reinforcing old patterns. So in my margins, I wrote 2020, 2021. So I got this book, I think either before the pandemic. I can't really read my own writing, but I remember I really went into this book. Here's something that I wrote down in this book. Now, I share these with you. I understand that the internet can be a very vulnerable place to be, especially the wide circumstance of the world and where everything is. And I'm getting to a point where in my life where I feel that there's nothing that can be formed against me that would hurt. These are the things that I feel. These are the things that I believe in. And maybe, as this book kind of hints at, we're always changing, and we're always doing things differently as time goes on. I was talking to someone on my ride home today that I have trouble sleeping, and this gentleman quite literally drove for over 30 years in Germany. He drove truck. He said truck. I was like, I drove truck. But he also mentioned that all he did from the time he was able to work, he was just doing nothing but driving. And he said that though he preferred working late hours, but he felt that he lost a lot of time, and he lost a lot of time with his children, with his wife, with spending time, because he was always working, and that's a lot. And the point of all this is to kind of say that, like, you know, we go through changes as we grow, as we mature. So I'm 34 now. If in 10 years time, when I'm 44, which is a long time, if I even get there, maybe I'll still feel the same, and maybe I won't, but who knows? Life is all about change. So let's see. Let's see. Here we go. Talks about shedding. Sometimes we feel like exploding, not because of anything or to hurt anyone, but simply because we're growing, releasing, letting the old parts die so that new habits, new ways of being have the space to live. Sometimes deeper mental clarity is preceded by great internal storms. Now, healing yourself can be messy. Seeing yourself through honesty can be jarring and tough. It can even temporarily cause imbalance in your life. It's hard work to open yourself up to release your burdens, like removing thorns from your body. It may hurt at first, but is ultimately for your highest good. The dark clouds of rainfall are necessary for new growth. Now, this next part here kind of deals with relationships and things. And now I'll skip a couple of these. But here's one for sure. So it says, when passion and attachment come together, they are often confused for love. I spent most of my life trying to prove to myself and others that I had no pain and I felt no sorrow. An apology to past lovers. I wasn't ready to treat you well. I didn't know love was meant to be selfless. I didn't know my pain had control over my actions. I didn't know how far away I was from myself and how that distance kept us miles apart. And this one's entitled Blind Heart. Ego is self-doubt, self-hatred, anxiety, narcissism, fear of others, harshness, impatience, a lack of compassion, and delusions. The ego sees problems. Consciousness sees solutions. Ego is not just the idea that we are better and more important than others. It often arises in the form of fear-driven emotions that grip our mind when we no longer believe ourselves capable of great things, when we look down on ourselves and treat ourselves harshly. Ego makes us see the world through fearful illusions. It makes us give the same punishing treatment we give ourselves to other people. Ego is a cloud that surrounds consciousness and disturbs its clarity. When we grow our self-love, our ego diminishes. When we purify ourselves and let go of the mental burdens, the ego loses its power. As we learn to heal ourselves, we do not hate our ego, nor do we become complacent with the limitations it imposes on our lives. The highest happiness is the deepest sense of freedom, an unshakable peace is possible when the ego no longer reigns, when the love of consciousness can flow without interruption. The world itself is currently shifting from being ruled by the fear of ego to being liberated by the love of consciousness. What we face internally is a microcosm of what humanity faces globally. This is why growing our self-love is medicine for our earth. If you are far away from yourself, how could you ever be close to another? Honesty creates intimate connections and decreases the turbulence of life. Dishonesty creates distance and problems that have to be dealt with in the future. Do not let a cloudy mind trick you into doing things you are done with. Reminder: you can love people and simultaneously tell them and not allow them to harm you. This one is called Phoenix. To be so broken, to have fallen so deeply, the only thing you can do is rise into a new you. Well, my friends, I think we'll call it there for the evening. Juan Carlos, good to see you, my friend. I'm so sorry, but we are just about to end. We're just about to end the stream now. Tonight we have been reading from. Inward, a book called Inward, by the poet Young Pueblo. This book is all about inner healing, inner working, and what you see, what I'm wearing right now, is just a physical representation of what I feel every human being is. Every human being is a part of the known universe, and we all have a light, and we all shine together. And being that this month is Men's Mental Health Month, along with Pride and everything else, I wanted to just extend that no matter where you are, what your place in life is, I just want you to know that if someone hasn't told you today, that this just be a reminder that, number one, you are loved, and number two, everything that you do has an importance, and 3, that you do matter, that you are welcome here, that you have purpose and reason to be here. You're never alone. You're never walking alone. And that it is okay to ask for help. It is okay to cry. And it is okay to allow your emotions to flow. Society tells men that we're not allowed to cry. We're just supposed to buck up and grow up and all of that stuff and all that nonsense. But in all honesty, if we're not releasing the pain and the stress and the strain, and if we're not talking about it, if we ourselves are not talking about it, whether it's through our friends or it's through people we love or what have you, we need to do that. And I encourage anyone in any circumstances, man, woman, child, always find help. If you need help, find the help. There are tons of resources out there. The internet exists. There are tons of groups. There are tons of things out there that can help with whatever it is that you may be struggling with. And there's always some individual out there who is willing, who does this for a living, who's willing to help you. I know that I myself struggle on a daily basis with my own mental health and with my own feelings and with everything. And something that's not often told to me sometimes is that, whether or not I'm loved or I'm wanted or what have you, you don't get that all the time, but sometimes you have to be able to tell yourself those things. And so this whole stream is, at least for tonight, is just kind of saying to the rest of you, you beautiful people out there, the culmination of just stardust and all the things that you are made beautifully, wonderfully, intelligently, and you absolutely are beautifully made. You matter, that you have a purpose for being here, and that you are loved unconditionally. You are loved, and I want you to know that, and I want you to know that there is help everywhere. There is love everywhere, and all of that. So, all that aside, I would encourage you guys to pick up this book. If this hour and 22 minutes of me reading in no particular order some of these passages, if you like to pick up the rest of the book, you can go do that. It's called Inward by Young Pueblo. It's a really great read. It's a relaxing read. Last but not least, I wanted to share something with all my musician friends. A tool that I basically picked up today. It's called Chord Files, and it's for the guitarists and the singer-songwriters and stuff. And I'll be more than happy to share the link down it. I'm not sponsored by them by any means, but whenever I find something cool, and just like what I'm doing with my live streams, I'm trying to give awareness to books, to reading, to tools, things like that, aside from just doing my own music. But this thing is called Chord Files. Here it is in all its glory. And what this does is you can change the key. You can find any key that you're in, and then in the middle here you have all the keys and stuff. So you set your key here, and then you have all the chords that come in this key, and then you can do some what is this here? This one is so you can add secondary dominance up here, and then you can do modal interchange down here. And then on the back of this, it's in white, so it might not come through. Oh, there we go. It's in white, but it gives you also the chord shapes and some melody lines and things like that. It's a really I did a lot of research on this before I bought it, and it just came today. So I'm planning on putting this together and doing it. I bought a pack. So this one kind of gives you the so this one just gives you the chord progressions, and then the next one that I got in a set they call it Dark Harmony. It's essentially the same thing, except that it deals with minor keys. So this gives you like all the minor keys, and you can kind of so if you're kind of stuck and you know, like, oh, I have no idea what to do, and again, it gives you modal interchange, and then you can use the back. Like I said, it's a little bright in here, but you can kind of use the back and get the chord diagrams, and then melody lines and things like that. So if I'm gonna try this out and see how I like it. I know that I've been speaking to some of you, and I've been kind of stuck in a musical rut, and I found this tool, and I think this might help. So if you want to find out a little bit more about this, I guess I will put a link down somewhere in the comment section, in the comment section of this stream, and all of that stuff. So chord files, definitely adding something to my my songwriting tool. So I would definitely encourage you guys to do that. Last but not least, just gonna make a couple of quick announcements real quick while I still have you guys here. Sorry, this is my water. I need water. So as far as shows go, Selena and the Wolf is going to be back at Lincoln House. So feel free. So you're gonna see the story posted today. I had to delete the last post I did because I had the time wrong. But anyway, so Selena and the Wolf is going to be at the Lincoln House in Covina this Friday from 8 to 11. And of course, we're going to be playing all your requests and stuff like that. So if you'd like to join us for great food, handcrafted cocktails, delicious handcrafted cocktails, it's a great place to be. It is in Covina. I believe it's a Badillo Street, I believe, or you can just look it up. We'll put the post together. And then let's see, because normally I do a show list of when I'm supposed to be doing stuff. So this Friday, we'll be at Selena and the Wolf will be at the Lincoln House from 8 to 11. And then tomorrow I will be at Union on Yale. We're going to be doing, it's not a themed, I normally do like a Tiki Tuesday or something like that, but it's not a theme. We're going to be doing just kind of 70s and 80s, doing that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So hope you guys can come out to that as well. And again, just look for all that. As far as like doing, more consistent live streaming, I've been kind of doing these books things, and like later on in the evenings, and I've had some people come and say, "Oh, this is cool," or some of them just like, "You're not playing music, you're just reading," and I'm not interested. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. But it's just something that I wanted to share with you guys, and maybe that you guys get a hint of like, what is it that I'm interested in aside from music and aside from what I normally do on a daily basis. So it's been helping me with some of the book on tape projects that I'm doing, because oftentimes my brain will just come up with the end of a sentence, and then that's not exactly what's written, so I have to go back and do all that. Anyway, so there's that. Um, so there's that. So tomorrow I'll be at Union on Yale. Look for that. And Selena and the Wolf is going to be at the Lincoln House from 8 to 11. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And I hopefully will see you guys at one of those, two of those, or neither of those. So we'll see. Okay. Anyway, as always, thank you to all of you who came in, popped in, said hello, said anything, liked the stream, what have you. And like I said, I will keep doing these reading things. If you want, if there's a book you think I should read on the stream, I'd be more than happy to do that. If there's songs that you would like me to learn on the stream when I am doing live music at a reasonable hour in the evening, I will totally do that. So anyway, I love you guys. Thank you so much for all that you do, for everything that you are. And again, I've said it I don't know how many times on this stream, but I will always repeatedly say it. Remember, guys, you are loved, you are cared for, and you guys are all amazing human beings, and I love you all. So thank you guys, and as always, good night. Be blessed, stay blessed.